Across the savannah, every predator carries a weapon to fight for another tomorrow. Some bet on speed, some choose strength, and others trust only in patience. But when the dry season comes, every strategy will be forced to pay its price. And among those born to rule, another force is quietly rewriting the rules of the hunt. Across the grassland, a fight to the death is unfolding. Golden bodies slam into each other, legs striking, jaws locking, manes raised as a roar shakes the ground. Not far away, the lioness pride watches in silence. They do not intervene, and they do not leave, because within minutes, the entire pride will know who the true ruler is. One drives in, putting the opponent on the defensive. But it is not alone. The second immediately drives in from behind, both pinning the lone one down together, 2 against 1. Overwhelmed, the lone lion begins to falter. Its strikes weaken. The mane is torn, hind legs buckling under the weight of 2 younger opponents pressing down. Three years of dominance had brought it to the apex of this grassland. But today, that reign is reaching its end. The old lion struggles to its feet, looks toward its pride one last time, then quietly turns away. Alone and covered in wounds, it will spend its remaining days drifting along the edge of the savannah. The 2 victors move confidently into the pride. The lionesses bare their teeth in wariness, but dare not resist, because the new leaders are larger and more powerful. But for the 2 newcomers, the victory is not yet complete. Inside the pride, the bloodline of the one they just overthrew still lives on. Remnants they are determined will not survive. The mother lioness immediately recognizes the danger. She bares her teeth and stands blocking the way, shielding her cubs. An instinct that runs deep, because her own mother once stood exactly the same way. But the newcomer needs only a shove of the shoulder to push the mother aside. She tries to flee with her cubs, but carrying young ones means she can never outrun those with nothing in their arms. The mother fights to the end, baring her teeth one last time, but it is useless. All she can do is stand there, helpless, witnessing the fate of her cubs. Her cries carry long across the grassland, but nature has never paused for the grief of one individual. Just a few weeks later, that same mother is lying beside the very one who replaced the old ruler. Having lost her cubs, her body quickly becomes ready for another generation, and she cannot resist. The new male lies at the center of the pride, commanding and still. Before long, a new generation will be born, and this time, every one of them will carry the bloodline of the one who just took the throne. But lions are not the only species that turns its own kind into rivals. Hundreds of kilometers away, another battle erupts, beginning from the very first moments of life. Unlike most African mammals, hyenas are born with their eyes already open and sharp milk teeth already in place. They see each other from the moment they enter the world. And the first thing they do is not reach for milk. The two small heads suddenly lunge at each other, biting, pushing, then biting back repeatedly in the darkness. On time, the gap between them grows more visible. One grows quickly from claiming more milk, while the other weakens steadily from hunger. Then on the day of leaving the den, only one creature is strong enough to follow its mother outside. The fate of the other has long since been decided, as quietly as the darkness in which it was born. Away from that dark den, the forest returns to stillness. On an acacia branch, a spotted tail sways lazily, amber eyes taking in the entire landscape below. That is a male leopard, a solitary predator. Its entire existence is tied to a territory marked by claw scratches and scent on every trunk. This morning, at a tree right at the territory's edge, new claw marks have appeared, higher, deeper, and still very fresh. An intruder has just set foot on this land. The resident leopard does not growl a warning. It silently drops from the branch, lowers its body, and follows the scent still drifting through the leaf litter. The trail leads it across a series of tree trunks until it finds the stranger, casually marking territory as though ownership of this land has already changed hands. Without a growl of warning, the resident launches upward and slams the intruder down. Two spotted shapes coil around each other, claws and fangs probing continuously for an opening. The young male breaks free, leaving a few tufts of fur on the leaves, then drives into deep forest. The resident does not give chase. The intruder has left the boundary. Then a different scent brings it to a halt. In the undergrowth is an unfamiliar female, standing in front of her cubs. The male's amber eyes narrow slightly. The mother leopard immediately understands the danger. Within minutes, the forest falls silent again. The male leopard turns away, leaving behind the startled calls of the mother leopard echoing out, then slowly absorbed into the deep forest. Dusk settles. The leopard lies again on its familiar branch, silently watching the territory it has just defended. It is there alone, as it has always been alone. Far from the leopard's quiet, the savannah fills again with barks and footsteps as a wild dog pack clusters together in the early morning sun. This is regarded as the most closely bonded species on the grassland. They lick each other's faces every morning, share every meal, and always care for the weakest members of the pack. But behind that show of solidarity is an iron rule. Across the entire pack, only the alpha female has the right to breed. So all resources are channeled into a single generation. Yet this season, a subordinate female has secretly given birth to a litter of her own. She found a hidden den, quietly nursing and grooming each pup, keeping them concealed from the entire pack. But the secret could not be kept long. The scent of milk carried on the wind, and before long, the alpha had already picked up the smell of a generation that did not belong to her. She traces it all the way to the den entrance. The subordinate female bares her teeth to block the way, but she is smaller and lower in rank. The pack only encircles them, not one intervenes. Then everything happens inside the den. The following day, the subordinate female quietly rejoins the pack and will put her energy into raising the generation of the very one who just took her pups. Tomorrow, the patrols will begin again. New scratch marks will appear on tree trunks. Roars will ring out across the grassland, and the boundaries of today will continue to be tested. No species can hold its position forever. The victors will also age, while younger individuals will grow up to repeat the same confrontations that shaped them. In Africa, evolution is not written only through battles with other species. It is also written through the unending competition between individuals of the same kind, generation after generation, without end. From above, the East African savannah appears as an endless golden canvas, where the shadow of large wings glides silently in parallel with a dark streak moving close to the ground. Beneath an acacia tree, a pride of lions rests after a meal. Bloodstains still ring their mouths, completely unaware of the brown eagle circling overhead and gradually lowering its arc. Under the low grass nearby, a black mamba nearly 3 meters long slides across a trail, carrying in its fangs enough venom to kill 10 grown adults. The eagle suddenly folds its wings and dives, talons driving straight into the mamba's midsection. Wind screams through the feathers as the large shadow rapidly covers the grass below. Talons pin the target to the red dust. The mamba immediately coils in resistance, whipping its head around at extreme speed, its venom-loaded fangs ready to strike. The mamba tightens around the eagle's wing, locking it in place and leaving the eagle thrashing helplessly as the venomous fangs continue searching for an angle on the neck. The eagle pecks repeatedly into the snake's body, but each strike only causes the mamba to tighten further. Two bodies roll across the red earth, dust billowing in clouds, feathers and scales tangling together. The sound of the violent struggle causes the lion pride to raise their heads. Two females rise and move slowly forward, curiously watching the cloud of red dust rolling up along the trail. One lowers its muzzle toward the brawl. The mamba immediately releases the eagle's wing, rears its head high, spreads its hood wide, and lets out a loud hiss of warning. The lioness stops. It recognizes that what stands before it is not prey, but a venomous threat. The mamba slowly slides out of the red dust and disappears into the low grass. The eagle snaps upright, spreading wings that are now slightly misaligned. Both lions still stand nearby as it fans its neck feathers and opens its beak in warning after the life or death struggle. The two lions advance no further. The eagle quickly gathers itself and labors heavily off the ground, circling once before fading into the rising thermals above the savannah. Beneath the low grass, the mamba has vanished, leaving behind a patch of earth that even the top of the food chain chose to avoid. In the end, all three species walked away. No true winner, only creatures that understood survival sometimes matters more than continuing the fight. Far from the red patch of earth, a secretary bird, nearly 1.3 meters tall, strides across the blazing grassland, its scale-armored legs ready for snake hunts across the ground. For this bird, the legs are the weapon, thick scales resistant to venom and kicks of tremendous force, moving steadily through the dry grass in search of the next prey. Ahead, a cobra nearly 2 meters long slides across open ground. The secretary bird immediately halts, lowers its neck, and holds a safe distance. The cobra quickly rears up, spreads its hood wide, and opens its mouth in a threat display. But the secretary bird only steps slowly sideways, forcing the snake to rotate with it. The snake suddenly lunges forward, but the moment its body is fully extended, a strike like a thunderbolt drives straight into its midsection, slamming the cobra down onto the red earth. On the next attack, the secretary bird again leaps backward at the right moment and delivers a reverse kick into the oncoming head, sending the snake staggering. By the third exchange, the cobra is slower. A kick straight down to the top of the head sends the snake's body thrashing across the ground, unable to raise its neck again. The secretary bird delivers a few more decisive kicks, then picks up the cobra's body and walks on across the grassland, as though the hunt just completed was nothing more than a routine part of the afternoon. It will continue sweeping through the grass until dusk, using its long legs and patience to bring down one snake after another with precise strikes. The sun-scorched grassland belongs to those who hunt from above. But to the west, among red rocks and scorching thorn bushes, another snake hunter appears, one that works at ground level through pure speed. A semi-desert stretches with cracked red rock and scattered cactus, as a small shape darts through the gaps in the stones so fast that the dust has not yet risen before it is gone. That is the roadrunner, a bird that hunts with long legs, a tail like a rudder, and a ground speed exceeding 40 kilometers per hour rather than wings. Ahead, a desert snake slides across open ground. The roadrunner spots the prey and immediately changes course, driving straight toward it without slowing. The snake quickly coils into a defensive posture, but the roadrunner simply circles continuously, forcing the opponent to keep changing direction until the movements of head and body begin to fall out of sync. The snake's strike misses. The moment its head extends forward, the roadrunner has already looped behind it, driving its beak hard into the back of the neck and slamming the snake's body against the red rock. Keeping the prey gripped in its beak, the roadrunner repeatedly slams the snake's body against the rock until the entire body goes limp and stops responding. Right where the chase ends, the hunter begins eating its prey. Each portion of the snake's body disappears between strong jerks and steady swallowing. On this arid land, the window of survival is always brief. Just minutes ago, a living creature was finding its way to survive. Now it has become the energy source sustaining another life. Across the savannah and semi-desert, each bird hunts in its own way. One uses talons, one relies on the force of its kicks, and the roadrunner depends entirely on speed. Every snake hunt between savannah and semi-desert is a gamble, because just one successful bite from a black mamba or a cobra is enough to end the hunter permanently. The eagle survived that morning because the mamba's fangs glanced off the thick neck feathers. Had they pierced the skin, the venom would have brought it down from the sky within minutes. For the secretary bird, the leg scales are the final line between life and death, because if the cobra could reach the unprotected thigh, the outcome would be entirely different. The roadrunner is different. No armor, no grip strength, only raw speed. Every loop around the snake is a bet of its life for the sake of its young. The brown eagle perches on a dry branch, wings pressed to its body, waiting for the bruised muscles to recover after the struggle. Further out in the afternoon grassland, the secretary bird still paces slowly through the yellow grass, knowing snakes are most active as temperatures begin to fall. Across the semi-desert, the mother roadrunner continues driving through the scorching rock crevices to find food. And beneath the acacia tree, the lions still lie there. And every time the wind stirs the grass ahead, they immediately raise their heads and look toward the place where the mamba once disappeared. Tomorrow, the eagle will circle the sky again. The secretary bird will step through the yellow grass, and the roadrunner will continue racing through the red rock. But the snakes will continue to exist as well. The race between talon and venom has no finish line, only the next round. When the last ray of sunlight leaves the savannah, the mamba still slides silently through the wind-stirred grass, fast enough and venomous enough that no one wants to cross its path a second time. Across the African savannah, a network of cool tunnels hides beneath the dry, cracked earth, a fortress in the scorching land above. But on this land, a burrow truly belongs only to the one strong enough to defend it. All that digging can be taken away in a moment. Midday heat pours down across the grassland. A ground squirrel family has spent many weeks constructing their home. A dry grass nest deep inside a dark tunnel, a refuge from the savannah's brutal temperatures. The mother squirrel leaves the burrow to forage, leaving her young behind inside, trusting the earthen walls that have sheltered them through their earliest weeks of life. At that same moment, a visitor is moving toward the squirrel's burrow. It builds no home, does no repairs. It only goes looking for doors already left open. That is the black mamba, the fastest snake in Africa, carrying within it venom enough to bring down any prey. For it, an unguarded burrow is an invitation difficult to refuse. The glossy dark body threads through the narrow entrance. The sound of scales against the earthen walls is like wind passing through the tunnel. At the bottom of the burrow, 3 squirrel pups are still fast asleep. The mamba moves into the innermost chamber of the tunnel. Its tongue sweeps continuously through the air, reading each remaining breath left in the thick darkness. One by one, the small sounds inside the tunnel go quiet. When the mamba leaves the final chamber, silence has settled in, welcoming the new owner of the home. When the mother squirrel returns, she stops short at the burrow entrance, the mamba's scent covering the opening like an invisible warning sign that this place is no longer hers. She takes a few steps forward, then freezes. From beneath the earth, not one call from her young answers back. Only an unfamiliar emptiness she has never encountered here before. The mother squirrel turns and walks away. No battle takes place. For her, the door to the home had already closed long before she could return. Now that termite mound belongs to the mamba, a home it never spent effort to build. But elsewhere, there are those who take homes without needing a single drop of venom. Deep in the oak forests of Europe, beneath a tangle of roots, a home lies concealed in the earth. Many chambers, many passages, more solidly built than any animal burrow on the continent. Its owner is a European badger, a creature of almost unbelievable cleanliness. It changes its bedding material every few days and keeps a dedicated latrine chamber, well separated from where it sleeps. Every stroke of digging, every change of bedding is a lifetime of the badger's devotion poured into this place. For it, that clean home is not merely shelter, it is a source of pride. But someone has had an eye on that home for a long time. The red fox, cunning but averse to digging. It covets the burrow while having no desire to dig a single stroke itself. The fox is not foolish enough to confront directly. It knows that inside the narrow tunnel, the badger is always the stronger one. So it chooses a far more silent weapon. It moves quietly to the burrow entrance and leaves its urine right at the threshold, then threads deeper inside, silently marking every wall of earth it passes. The badger returns and stops just inside the entrance. An unfamiliar smell hits it directly, a scent that should never exist inside the home of a species that prizes cleanliness. It steps in, then steps back, steps in again, then back again. That smell has soaked into every wall of earth. Finally, the badger turns away, leaving behind the place it once called home. Across an entire ocean, on the North American prairie, a town lies just beneath the surface of the earth. Hundreds of connected burrows belonging to families of black-tailed prairie dogs. Every morning, they take turns standing guard, calling to each other in sharp cries whenever danger appears. They live closely together and are rarely caught off guard. Among that bustling community, a peculiar resident can sometimes be spotted. the burrowing owl. The only owl in the world that lives underground rather than perching in the trees. The burrow the owl wants belongs to a stubborn male prairie dog who has poured enormous effort into building his home and guards the entrance all day, refusing to leave. The owl cannot drive the prairie dog away by force, but it has a weapon that few species would think to expect. It quietly presses itself into an empty burrow nearby. And from inside that burrow, a dry rasping sound begins to rise. That hiss stretches long and unsettling, identical to a rattlesnake coiling and preparing to strike. The prairie dog jolts and launches out of the burrow entrance. Underground, nothing is more terrifying than the sound of a rattlesnake. It has no idea that the one threatening it is only a small bird. When the ground goes still, the owl steps into the burrow just vacated. It stands before the room still warm from its previous owner, then slowly settles into its new home. But not every home taker waits for the owner to leave on their own. There are those who arrive while a home stands empty, and when the owner returns, what has been lost is more than just shelter. The house sparrow lives among a vast number of other bird species. It turns up everywhere, so ordinary that few would guess it is one of the most skilled nest takers around. When spring comes, a pair of swallows diligently carry pellets of mud to build their nest. Hundreds of flights across many days, all to raise a home for the brood about to be born. One afternoon, the mother swallow leaves the nest to forage, the eggs lying on a bed of feathers. She has no idea this is the last time she will see them intact. Then a brown shape lands quietly at the nest's edge. The sparrow looks down at the clutch of eggs, then calmly pecks each one and carries it away from the nest, taking with it an entire season of the swallow's hope. The mother swallow returns too late. The young she never got to meet are already gone, and the stranger is near the nest entrance, keeping her from diving in. The bird that built that home can now only circle in helpless loops, calling out into empty air, but nothing answers back anymore. Finally, the pair of swallows fly away without once looking back. The nest they built with 1,000 wing beats now cradles eggs that are not their own. After homes stolen, abandoned, and changed hands, there is still one place unlike the rest. A home whose owner has devoted an entire life to building, yet never claimed it as theirs alone. In the longleaf pine forest, on sandy soil in the southeastern United States, a round burrow mouth opens at the base of a tree. Its owner is the gopher tortoise, the most persistent burrower in this land. With its broad front feet shaped like shovels, it works tirelessly downward into the earth. The deeper it goes, the cooler the air, beyond the reach of the heat and cold above. Before long, the first visitors begin to arrive. Season after season, countless creatures come to find shelter in the darkness below. At times, a snake coils just a few handspans from a frog. Out in the light, they are hunter and prey. But down here, every chase is put on hold. The gopher tortoise knows exactly who is sheltering around it, and yet it drives no one away, only moves quietly through the old tunnels, as though the home was always wide enough for everyone. Then one day, a wildfire sweeps through. Thick smoke envelops the pine trunks above. But deep underground, the burrow holds its cool shadow, sheltering the creatures pressed together inside. When the fire has passed, one animal after another climbs out into the ash. Last of all, the old tortoise steps out unhurried, gazing quietly at the forest, waiting to turn green again. Those who came before took their dwelling from someone else. The gopher tortoise did not. The home it lives in is something it made entirely on its own. In the longleaf pine forest on sand, that burrow stands through season after season of fire. Many generations of occupants have come and gone, but the home itself has never once disappeared. Perhaps in nature, the most enduring shelter is not held by the one who guards it most fiercely, but by the one willing to open it to all. The grassland of southern Africa, in the middle of the dry season, earth cracked open in great patches, grass burned flat, and the last water source vanished many weeks ago. But deep beneath the dry surface, a creature still exists. Its body nearly shut down, metabolism drastically reduced to hold on to its last reserves of moisture. Through months without eating or drinking, heart beating slowly, waiting for the familiar signal that will wake the body back to life. The sky to the west begins to darken, black clouds rolling low and carrying a damp wind. Then the first drops of rain fall onto the dry earth and seep into the cracks. The rain grows heavier, softening the parched soil, water pooling in small patches across the cracked surface, carrying moisture and new vitality to the arid land. Then the earth stirs. A crack widens, mud bursts upward, and from below, a large head with amber eyes slowly rises after months of concealment. The African bullfrog has a body as dense as a mass of muscle sunk in mud, jaws occupying nearly half its head, lined with small spike-like teeth. Once prey has entered, there is no escape. A body not built for running, it only needs to lie still and wait for prey to come to it. And after months of starvation, the hunting instinct rises back with full force. Small insects crawl across the wet mud. Another bullfrog lies watching the ground, its body blending almost completely into the mud color. A millipede passes close. The bullfrog's mouth snaps open, tongue fires out, jaws close. From the moment the prey touches down to the moment it disappears takes half a second. 10 minutes. Dozens of insects have vanished. The frog makes use of the brief rainy days to rapidly recover the energy burned away through the entire dry season. But insects are only the appetizer. For them, anything that fits in the mouth is food. And around the newly formed water pools, larger prey gradually appears. A field mouse steps out from the wet grass, searching for seeds along the water's edge, nose down low, completely unaware that death is waiting just ahead. It takes one more step, then the mud explodes. The frog's mouth snaps open, swallowing the mouse whole, locking every struggle down with the sharp teeth lining its mouth. The eyeballs press downward to help push the prey deeper into the throat. The mouse disappears, hind legs kicking weakly, then going still. The belly swells, but the mouth is already ready for the next one. 2 weeks after the rain, The savannah is drying again. Insects and small reptiles are more active, and the bullfrog has left the water pool, sitting motionless like a lump of dry mud on the red earth. A small snake slides past, just 20 centimeters away, tongue flickering, head raised to probe the environment. It is still too small to recognize the danger directly in front of it. The snake glides across the frog's field of view. A strike launches upward, misses. Red earth flies up as the prey attacks and tries to find a way out. The second lunge lands true. Jaws lock onto the head. Spiked teeth drive deep. The snake's body coils and tightens around the frog, but is pressed flat against the ground. The frog begins to swallow. The grassland returns to quiet. The frog, lying still under the warm sun, belly rounded and full, beginning the slow process of digestion after a series of heavy meals under the sunlight slowly returning. The rainy season brings not only food, but the opportunity to breed, when all activity must happen quickly before the last drop of water disappears. At the largest water pool in the area, dozens of males gather, throats swelling as deep calls roll across the savannah, drawing females and staking out control of the breeding center. The strongest male holds the central position where the water is deepest, while others ram, press, and bite each other to win the only chance to continue their lineage. When the female arrives, mating is quick. Eggs are fertilized immediately and cling to moss and grass, beginning a life cycle that must outrace the receding water. Tadpoles hatch, thousands of tiny bodies swimming frantically in the warming pool, eating algae and each other to grow, because their life cycle is shorter than the pool sustaining them. Many weeks pass, the harsh sun returns, the pool shrinks day by day from a wide pond to a small puddle. Tadpoles packed together in a life source that is steadily running out. And in the middle of the shrinking pool, the father frog stays. He looks at the mud ridge dividing two pools of water, then quietly uses his hind legs to break through the mud, channeling his young through to the water on the other side. After hours of digging mud, under the blazing sun, his strength is spent, skin dry, eyes half closed. Yet he has held on to the chance of life for thousands of tadpoles. A smaller frog enters the territory being guarded. But for the bullfrog, a smaller member of its own species can sometimes also become food. The lunge happens quickly and decisively. As the dry season turns back, the instinct to protect and the instinct to hunt exist within the same body. Tadpoles begin to grow legs, some metamorphosing into frogs in fewer than 3 weeks, fingernail-sized, leaving the muddy pool to step into the high-risk world above the waterline. But the moment they reach the bank, the young frogs face hunting birds, snakes around the water's edge, and other adult frogs, because when hungry, this species does not distinguish its own kind. Most do not survive the first week. Of thousands of eggs, only a few will still be alive by the following rainy season. But those that remain will grow into monsters like their father. The pool has dried completely. The last tadpoles have left, and the father frog gazes silently at the empty patch of earth, sitting at the edge of dry mud, sensing the heat of the dry season slowly returning. Then the old instinct wakes. It begins to dig, hind legs driving hard, body sinking gradually into the hardening mud, preparing for the next long sleep. Mud slowly covers the back, the head, then both eyes, leaving behind a water-retaining membrane that gradually encases the body like a survival cocoon for the dry months ahead. The earth cracks open again, grass burns flat under the scorching sun. The water pools vanish entirely, and deep below the dry ground, the bullfrog lies still with a slowing heart, waiting for the next rain. A young frog that survived the rainy season sits near the drying bank. No larger than a coin, it has just caught its first ant. Life starts here. If it survives the first dry season, it will burrow into a mud cocoon like its parents, then emerge after the rains, larger, stronger, with a mouth that grows wider with every hunting season. The hot wind sweeps across the savannah. The cracked, dry earth is completely silent, but deep below, hundreds of bullfrogs lie still inside their own water-retaining membranes. And that is how the African bullfrog survives. The most voracious predator on the savannah is also the one that buries itself in a sleep lasting many months, just to exchange it for a handful of opportunities. Field mice still search for seeds. Grass snakes still hunt, completely unaware that the danger sleeping beneath their feet needs only one rain to open its mouth. The rainy season will return, perhaps soon, perhaps late. But without needing to know the timing, it only needs to feel the first vibration when water touches the earth. The first raindrop will fall, the earth will soften, pools will form, insects will surge, and from beneath the cracks, amber eyes will open again, beginning a new hunting season. But for now, the grassland is still dry and hot, and deep beneath the dark earth, it still lies there, waiting. The ground trembles faintly. Not rain yet, only wind moving through the grass. But sooner or later, the water will return, and it will be here when that happens. Afternoon sun pours into the Luangwa River Gorge, murky yellow light illuminating vertical rock faces covered in damp moss where space is suspiciously silent. A few kingfishers dive to the water surface, then dart up, only wing beats echoing in the gorge's quietness. Everything else seemingly motionless. On the cliff edge, a lion pride stands close together, heads bowed observing, eyes not on the water, but focused on the individual in danger. Below, among smooth rocks near the water's edge, a lioness struggles to climb up, claws gripping the surface, but continuously slipping, getting closer to dangerous waters. Lions are large cats dominating many of Africa's dry ecosystems. With male lions weighing up to 180 kilograms, they top the food chain wherever they reach. But all those advantages are designed for flat terrain. On steep, slippery rock surfaces, features once advantageous become disadvantages. The lioness weighs about 130 kilograms, pulling her own body up the sloped face. Gravity quickly overwhelms pulling force, making efforts extremely exhausting. She fell while pursuing prey over the cliff edge, a small miscalculation leading to a long slide, placing her in a life-threatening situation. On the bank, the lion pride still observes. A low roar rings out, but no individual descends, because they know this rock face is a one-way trap. Below, the female tries to grip again. Front legs find footing, but the surface is unstable, pushing force insufficient to hold the body, and she slides down again. Distance to water surface continues closing. Current position not only disadvantageous in terrain, but also conceals another danger. A small ripple spreads from downstream, not from wind, not from current, but a sign of a creature slowly approaching. The lioness recognizes immediately. Eyes lock onto two black points floating on water surface. Alarm, instinct activates. Sounds emitted carry obvious tension. Two black points motionless like rotten logs gradually surfacing, but hidden below is a 4-meter body. The real danger has appeared. And it didn't come alone. Ripples appear from different directions, all heading toward the same point, the cliff base where the lion clings. To understand the danger below, one must know that the creature patiently waiting has existed millions of years, with body structure evolved optimally for hunting. Nile crocodiles reach 5 meters long and weigh over 700 kilograms, and possess bite force among the strongest of animals still existing on Earth. Their tactics rely on ambush, lying motionless for hours, then attacking extremely fast, optimizing energy and ensuring high success probability. After locking jaws, crocodiles drag prey underwater and perform the death roll, inflicting serious damage, and prey quickly loses resistance capability. They can fast for months. Each meal is a long-term investment, so when there's opportunity, they'll thoroughly consume prey. On the rock face, the lioness understands the situation clearly. Above is an unclimbable slope. Below is enemy territory. Now she's trapped between two threats. She moves horizontally along the narrow rock strip, seeking climbable points, each step carefully gripping wet rocks, eyes not leaving water surface. Each step is hope, but also risk. Below, the crocodile pod maintains stable distance, moving parallel. They're not rushing to approach, only maintaining position and waiting for more favorable conditions. The lion discovers a lower section of cliff, but must cross a 2-meter wide shallow water stretch, a short distance, but full of risk. She suddenly lunges down, racing quickly across the water. And in the same moment, a crocodile surges up. Jaws snap shut right where she just been left, only one beat late. The lion grips rocks on the other side, struggling to pull herself up. The crocodile watches from behind underwater. This time escaped, but terrain on this side still slippery and steep, no easier at all. She continues climbing short sections, then sliding down again. Each time losing momentum, position gets closer to water surface, and safe distance gradually closes. The third slip makes hind legs touch water. The lion flinches, jumping back up, but too late. A crocodile lunges, jaws reaching for hind legs. The lion roars, concentrates force on front legs as anchor points. Shoulder muscles tense, resisting overwhelming pulling force from water surface. The struggle increasingly intense. The crocodile bites and slips. The lion escapes. The lion springs onto the rock strip, breathing heavily, while the crocodile sinks, carrying anger. The lion gradually tires and cannot stay in one place long. For crocodiles, that's a signal. They adjust positions, tighten encirclement, distance only, meters remaining. The lioness has no choice left. Cannot climb up, cannot stay. Survival space shrinks by the minute. She moves faster, abandoning fear. Each step, each short leap utilizing every remaining foothold on the slippery rock strip. The crocodiles no longer wait. They simultaneously surge up when the lion crosses the narrow water section, jaws snapping shut consecutively in splashing water. The lion reaches the final rock outcrop. Ahead is the only gentle bank, but separated by a deep water section, while predators have closed in from behind. She looks at the shore, looks at the water surface, then looks at three shadows closing in and jumps down. Four legs touch water. The lion begins swimming as fast as possible toward shore. Distance, gradually from shore, legs still touching bottom. But behind, crocodiles are accelerating. The largest submerges, disappears. This is the most dangerous moment. The lion nearly reaches shore. Front legs grip earth, pulling body up, but injured hind leg lacks strength, making her slide down, and that's all the crocodile needs. From behind, a crocodile surges up and locks jaws onto the rear section. Massive pulling force jerks the lion back into the water. The second crocodile immediately lunges in, clamping tight on front shoulder. Two pulling forces from two directions make the lion sink half submerged. Only head and one front leg protruding. The death roll begins. Lion's body dragged completely under. Water surface churns violently, then gradually settles, returning to initial calm. Water surface returns to stillness. No more sounds or movement, only a few small ripples fading on the surface. The grassland ruler has sunk from here. Above, the lion pride stands silent. Calling sounds echo down, no response. Only wind blowing through the gorge echoes back. After several tries, they fall silent. After a few minutes, one by one, leaves the cliff edge. They leave without looking back. On the plains, prolonging loss is also putting oneself at risk. Below the Luangwa River, crocodiles drag prey to the deep bottom, holding it for natural decomposition process before beginning the meal. Nile crocodiles can fast for months, and today's meal is a 130-kilogram lioness, enough to feed them for many weeks. The confrontation closes according to environmental law. When entering water, advantage belongs to water-adapted creatures. On that territory, all land advantages lose value. The lion pride loses a member. Movement rhythm and behavior will change in following days, reflecting adjustment to risk. Dusk arrives. Landscape returns to familiar state, leaving almost no clear traces of the event just occurred. The lion pride stops to rest in tall grass area far from the river. They lie closer together, the gap of one individual becoming obvious in the silent formation. Each encounter leaves marks in blood. Later decisions will change through reflexes formed from experience. Below the river, crocodiles continue moving slowly. Eyes, nose protruding, then sinking back. The observation cycle and endless patience count again from the start. In the Luangwa ecosystem, lions and crocodiles share the food chain apex, each species dominating half the world. When boundaries are erased, advantage belongs to the side adapting better to conditions at that moment. Each rainy season, water rises. Dry season, water recedes. Boundaries continuously change. Encounters repeat. No permanent winner, only temporary adaptation. Today's lioness didn't fail from lack of strength. On land, she's the ruler. But when conditions change, mass and body structure itself become disadvantages. Conversely, crocodiles don't need to be faster or stronger in all circumstances. They only need the right environment, where their advantages are maximized. Sun sets over Luangwa. On shore, lions rest in tall grass. Below water, crocodiles hide. Two parallel worlds, meters apart, but deciding survival. Tomorrow morning, though one individual fewer, the lion pride's rhythm doesn't stop. They'll avoid the riverbank, continue hunting on grasslands, and remember dangerous boundaries. Night wind blows through the gorge, carrying scents of mud and damp grass. Traces on rocks gradually disappear. Bank edge returns as before. Nature erases what once occurred. Under moonlight, crocodiles hide in flat water. In a world where mistakes mean endings, silence sometimes is the sign of danger itself. Early sun covers the grassland. A male lion lies gasping on the verge of death. From where it lies, a long drag mark is imprinted, as if that body was just hauled some distance. Not far away are dense elephant footprints, each as wide as a serving platter. Strangely, only the lion's tracks lead toward the elephant herd, no other prints visible anywhere. Truth is, a male lion dying after recklessly confronting giants isn't uncommon. What kills them usually isn't weakness, but misjudging their own stature. And it all began yesterday afternoon, when the ill-fated one was still roaming alone. Instead of being wary, it fixed a provocative gaze on the massive elephant herd in the distance. Since leaving its pride, it had consecutively brought down slow-aging prey. Once it even brazenly seized a carcass right under a solitary hyena's muzzle. With each prey that fell, the illusion of its own strength added another layer. It forgot it was only a growing creature, mistakenly believing itself already master of this land. Before it, the elephant herd slowly crossed by. Young ones nestled, crowded in the middle. A seasoned hunter would have moved away, but not this one. Eyes locked on the smallest calf. Then it walked straight toward the elephant herd like a solitary figure marching into an army. Steps steady, eyes glued to the young one, it ignored the massive mother elephant standing right beside. Lion launched toward the young elephant, standing isolated at the edge. Mother elephant immediately spun around, but it didn't retreat at all. stubbornly holding its ground with blind confidence. Mother elephant pivoted, one pillar-thick foot came straight down onto the lion's back. Tons of weight crushing down made its body sink deep into earth, spine-shattering vertebra by vertebra. Done, the elephant herd calmly stepped onward, leaving the carcass behind without bothering to look back. Sometimes self-delusion is precisely what sends an animal to its grave fastest. But power delusion is only the first dark corner of animal psychology. Not far away, two cheetahs of the same bloodline and age carry completely opposite fates. The first named Coco, wearing gleaming sleek fur, belly round and full after a hunt. It chews slowly, gaze calm, because no fear has ever accompanied its meals. Complete opposite is Ghost, gaunt to the bone, rough coat, also just brought down prey. Yet it can't eat in peace. Every time it lowers its head, it immediately snaps back up, eyes darting everywhere. Just then, afternoon wind carried a string of hoarse laughter from afar. That hyena pack had not at all spotted the two cheetahs or scented the meat. They were only calling each other out there. Coco only flicked an ear briefly, then lowered back to chewing, unconcerned by distant sounds. But Ghost, hearing exactly that sound, had already sprung up, abandoning the entire meal, eyes flooded with fear. Without hesitation, Ghost bolted away, leaving the prey it just brought down lying on the grass. It went a full kilometer away, though the hyenas were in the opposite direction, not approaching at all. Right as it fled, muscles tensed on Ghost's shoulder, old wounds clearly visible. Those are traces of a terrifying prey theft from the previous year, imprinting obsession into its mind. This was the third time this season it abandoned a meal because of vague sounds. Hunts well, but rarely gets to eat full, because every meal for it hovers with lurking danger. Sure enough, a lone hyena sauntered over, leisurely consuming the portion Ghost left behind. It was more than capable of chasing that one off, but wasn't foolish enough to trade its life for one bite. Eating its fill, Coco rolled over, sleeping soundly under the afternoon light lingering on the grass, while Ghost lay hollow-bellied, curled far away, bitterly watching the hyena take the final bite. Same bloodline, equal in build, yet fate split in two by one single obsession. Just as the entire land sank into stillness, the east suddenly rang out with a long, mournful howl. That was a wild dog's howl, but not the signal calling the pack to hunt. Only the sound of one solitary one, weakening with each beat, the sound of one seeking its pack while no one answers. That young hunter stood stranded amid tall grass, ears raised, eyes sweeping around in panic. Just because it lingered a few minutes when the pack crossed the thicket, it had lost track of the entire family. Being a species almost entirely dependent on pack, wild dogs fear solitude greatly. The moment separated from kindred, its mind falls apart, unable to maintain clarity. So it bolted off in all directions, swerving one way, then cutting another without finding anyone. Those chaotic running circles didn't bring it back to the pack, only widened the distance. Calls grew fainter with the panicked creature's broken breathing. Ironically, on bare open grassland, those who heard it clearest were hunters rather than its own kind. Hearing those sounds, a lioness lying nearby immediately pricked ears. In her eyes, the young dog, stranded without pack protection, was no different from a meal delivering itself. It little knew every rescue call was inadvertently inviting death closer. In the western grass patch, a pale yellow shadow silently parted grass, advancing, smooth and utterly deadly. When the predator revealed itself fully, instead of bolting, it should have, young dog stood rooted. Extreme panic paralyzed its reflexes, turning it into a motionless statue. Hunter launched decisively. Everything ended in just one instant. Young one's life extinguished right on the grassland, only a few hundred meters from its own pack. As sun paled, the wild dog pack tracked signs, finding where the young one fell. After nuzzling the last fading warmth, they raised heads, howling a farewell. Farewell song not yet faded, earth beneath the dog pack's feet began trembling and rumbling. Not the footfall of elephants or lions, but seismic force from countless hooves. The entire northern horizon darkened to murky, seeming like clouds, yet being countless animal bodies. That was the great wildebeest migration flooding southward. Each year, over 2 million follow reins, wandering for new grassland. Blocking that journey is the Mara River, with its steep banks and lurking crocodiles. One leading individual stopped startled right at the steep bank, hesitating before a fierce current. Behind, the million following had no idea, kept pushing forward relentlessly, pressing them toward the edge. Weight from behind kept surging. Those at front didn't plunge in of their own will. They were shoved by kindred, while those doing the shoving were themselves pushed by the layer behind, impossible to hold back. One by one, they tumbled headlong off the rock bank, plunging headfirst 2 meters into the water. Then a second, third, then an entire long chain poured in one after another because those behind wouldn't stop. Momentarily, layer upon layer of animal bodies crashed down, tier stacking on tier. Those below suffocated under weight. Those just surfacing were immediately pushed under by the next arrival, river section resounding with bellowing. Below, the crocodile pack barely needed to expend effort hunting. Prey kept tumbling off the cliff face above, offering themselves right into gaping jaws, waiting ready. Cruelly ironic, right nearby was a gentle sloping bank leading gradually down to water. That spot was completely deserted, not one breaking from the flow to go there, because the frenzy had swept everything away. Entire herd reaching the riverbed struggled climbing up the other side, but that was also a steep reverse slope. Hemmed in between two sheer cliff faces, they trampled over kindred, finding no way out. Only much later did the migration flow thin out, last one splashing across, then reaching the far bank. The cruel truth was, most death today came from crushing and trampling, not at all from the reptiles below. Despite the stretch of river left in chaos behind, surviving animals continued south. Behind, another million creatures were advancing, the next day again converging on the same old cliff edge. Evening descends, Mara River flows slow, well-fed crocodiles lie savoring. On the bank, vultures pick at portions, waves washed in, water quietly carries surplus downriver. On the cliff face, morning's hoof-mark gouges still hold their impressions. Water below has settled crystal clear, yet to the north, dust clouds already billow, signaling a new wave of migration. At the gentler bank nearby, zebra herd leisurely lowers heads beside calm water. No one would guess this spot just this midday was still thundering hooves and bellowing wildebeest. But right beneath that clear water, a just satiated crocodile's eyes still quietly watch upward. It lies motionless, pressed near the water surface, gaze never leaving the muzzles dipping low. This noon, a herd of Thompson's gazelle graze idly, tails flicking at flies. The plain, silent as glass. 100 meters off, several roundheads lie low in the grass, eyes locked on the herd. They are not lions, but bear black lines from eye to muzzle like the tracks of dried tears, the mark of the fastest runner. This is July, a coalition of brother cheetahs from the same mother. The leader, named Sabi, presses himself low and slips through the grass, while the others spread to either side. They form no circle, only wait to cut off the angles for when the panicked prey breaks and bolts. All at once, Sabi bursts out like a bolt of lightning, hitting 100 kilometers an hour in just seconds. His forepaw hooks the prey down, his jaws lock onto the throat. The prey goes limp. The whole coalition lies collapsed beside the carcass, chests heaving fast. For that sprint has burned away all their energy. Their bodies need a few minutes to cool before they can eat. The moment they recover, the group gulps down their meal in haste, glancing in every direction. No big cat has its prey stolen as often as the cheetah, so for them, to eat fast is to eat it all. Bellies full, they settle side by side on a mound, tongues gliding over a companion's ears. For cheetahs, those grooming licks are the very glue that binds the band of brothers. When finished, Sabi pauses by an acacia trunk, leaving a streak of urine to declare his claim. The others scatter too, sending their own scent marks into each bush and small mound at the edge of the territory. Patrol done, they lie back on a high-rise, casting their eyes across the grassland. To the south, gazelle are grazing. To the east, impala flit in and out, all within a territory of a few square kilometers. Toward evening, the wind shifts and the leader snorts in alarm. A strange scent, not gazelle, not hyena, but heavier, sharper, more menacing. It's a lion. The whole group springs up, looking into the wind. At the edge of the tall grass to the west, a golden shape looms closer. The steps too light, the body too slender. A lioness, sure enough. She walks alone, worn and weary, her frame far outmatching any single cheetah. After days of failed hunts, her hollow belly drives her toward wherever the prey is thickest. The uninvited guest calmly sets foot in the hunting ground, not bothering to hide. She crosses the grassland, sending the whole herd of gazelle jerking their heads up and backing away in fright. On the high-rise, the cheetahs watch helplessly as their familiar prey scatters. That stranger hasn't so much as lifted a claw, merely passed through, yet her pungent scent alone has been enough to sweep away all their prey. In the middle of the hunting ground, she lowers her body to stalk, eyes fixed on the impala. The lioness is a pride's main hunting force, and now her empty belly only fans her resolve into flame. The whole coalition glares, watching the intruder hunt in the heart of their own territory. Sabi flattens his ears, eyes narrowing. His younger brothers press closer to him than usual, silent as glass. A few powerful strides bring her right up to the impala. She slams her massive body down to pin the prey to the ground, then clamps its throat tight. The cry chokes off, and the raw stench of blood spreads, sending the gazelle to the south into panic, retreating a few stretches farther. The whole hunting ground grows sparser, all because of one scent. She eats at her leisure, not glancing about like the cheetahs, for she is the strongest one here. But a single lone impala is nothing to a belly gone hollow after so many days lost from the pride. She lies right there beside the pile of bones. For a strong loner with nowhere to shelter, wherever the prey is plentiful is a place worth lingering a little longer. As the sun slants low, the whole area is empty of prey, for the lion's scent now lingers everywhere. The gazelle have withdrawn far off. The impala have melted into the grass. Before the coalition, the grassland lies bare, not a shadow of prey. The cheetahs lie in wait a stretch from the intruder, swallowing hard as they watch her sleep. The morning was peaceful, yet by evening an outsider has seized their patch of hunting ground. Sabi exchanges a glance with his two comrades, a silent agreement. The morning's contentment has vanished, giving way to frustration. When the source of their survival is threatened, even the cautious turn reckless. Then the leader springs up and moves toward the sleeping stranger. No haste, just a steady pace across the grass. His comrades fall in behind, each on a different heading, 10 meters apart. Hearing the footsteps, she lifts her head to see the cheetahs closing in from all sides. She stays lying down, used to cheetahs avoiding confrontation, but it is strange to see them advance of their own accord. She heaves up, snarling, a low sound rolling across the plain. The roar that once cowed every hunter now means nothing, for the cheetahs keep circling, always beyond her reach. In a flash, the leader darts across right in front of her muzzle, then swerves sharply aside. The lioness's claws swing out and strike only empty air. A powerful swipe, but slower than the cheetah's turn. From behind, a comrade rushes in, then vanishes the instant the stranger wheels around. A moment later, another appears at her opposite flank, sending her spinning in circles, bewildered. Turning this way and that, the lioness grows more exhausted, while the cheetah band has yet to tire. That massive mass of muscle shifts direction heavily, while the light ones keep toying with her at ease. Furious, she chases the leader, but within a few steps, she flags as he cuts away and pulls far ahead. The moment she turns, two comrades close in, harassing her without pause. She twists to bite, misses, and roars, then lunges again only to snap at empty air. Over 100 kilos of muscle become useless, for the cheetahs slip away before her claws can reach. Panting hard, the beast halts and watches the group circle without rest. She realizes that to stay is only to be harassed endlessly, striking forever without landing a blow. She turns to leave. But then, after a brief moment, the beast suddenly wheels back around, hurling one final lunge with all her strength. Her target is the leader, the cheetah, just a beat slow to react. At that very instant, the whole band pounces in together. One flashes across before her muzzle as a lure. Another strikes from behind her back, leaving the lioness spinning too fast to find her bearings. At last she stops dead, gasping and spent. Before her, the cheetah band still patiently toys with her. The fight has cost far too much strength for no reward. Quietly, she gives up. This time, she leaves for good, her steps far more hurried, not bothering to look back. Behind her, the coalition holds its formation until the beast disappears entirely. The whole band nestles close to Savvy, tongues brushing gently over the bleeding wound. For cheetahs, grooming one another is a bond of affection that has run deep since birth. On the wind, the intruder's scent slowly fades. To the south, the gazelle warily return to their familiar grass as the lion's smell dissolves. The prey comes back, and with it, peace. Before long, another gazelle drops right on the same patch of grass as before. This time, no lion's scent lingers to spoil the group's meal. The July brothers gather around the carcass, body against body, beneath the setting sun. For them, to eat on their own territory is worth far more than a wound along the flank. At the western edge where the lioness slipped away, that scent has not yet faded. She has learned this place holds plenty of prey, and the land is good. She will not forget this rich hunting ground. At midday, the Namibian desert sinks into scorching heat. The air shimmers above the sand, and most creatures have already withdrawn into shade. But just beneath that seemingly still surface, a world of hunting continues without pause, where death arrives in ways no one anticipates. Look at that flat expanse of sand. It is concealing a perfect trap, a small round trapdoor covered in sand and silk, perfectly camouflaged within the desert. Directly beneath that door, a trapdoor spider waits in silent ambush. From the burrow entrance, countless fine threads radiate outward, turning the surrounding sand into an invisible sensing net. A cricket wanders off course and touches a thread. A split second later, the trapdoor snaps open. The spider launches out and seizes the prey, then drags it straight underground, faster than a blink. In the dark burrow, venom seeps into the cricket's body and gradually liquefies everything inside. The spider then simply sucks out the contents and leaves behind an empty shell. That is death arriving quietly from within. But nearby, another hunter chooses a far more blunt approach, ending prey through raw, unadorned force. A burrowing scorpion with pincers as wide as a thumb. It barely needs its venom. A cricket walks past, the pincers snap shut, and the chitin shell shatters. The exposed flesh is torn apart immediately by its mouth parts. Same prey brought down, but it and the spider represent two completely opposing methods of hunting. On the same patch of sand, one creature was liquefied from within and one was crushed from without. Two outcomes, and neither shows any mercy. At the smallest scale, venom and strength are evenly matched. But as size increases, the two paths diverge further, and the price each hunter must pay grows heavier. That price is most visible in a Central American rainforest. Beneath shafts of sunlight filtering through the canopy, a pit viper lies coiled and still beneath dry leaves. A forest mouse picks through the undergrowth, nose close to the ground, searching for seeds. Every tiny vibration travels up through the branches, and the eyes above immediately lock on. The pit viper strikes in a flash. Hollow fangs drive deep, pump venom, and release instantly. The mouse lurches upright and bolts through the leaf litter, believing it has escaped. But the venom has already spread silently through the body, destroying tissue. After a few more steps, the mouse staggers and collapses. Only now does the pit viper calmly follow the scent trail. Strike and release. That method saves energy. But right in this same forest, another hunter brings down prey the opposite way, by holding and never letting go. In the dense, dark, damp forest understory, a boa constrictor lies coiled. It carries no venom, but those muscular coils are enough to suffocate any prey. A mouse forges its way closer to the tree root, where the boa lies hidden. The moment the prey enters range, the boa launches like a spring and wraps tight around it. That method of constriction costs more energy, but leaves the mouse almost no chance at all. The boa swallows the prey whole right there, no need to follow a scent trail. Two hunters, two different bets. One trusts in invisible venom, the other trusts the coils of its own body. And the price each pays is nothing alike. At the middle scale, venom and strength each carry their own cost. But if the two were forced to face each other, who would remain standing? The answer is waiting in Africa. Here, nature places two extremes side by side. On one side, venom potent enough to kill a large animal. On the other, strength capable of hauling a carcass up a tree. At the edge of the East African savannah, late afternoon, a cobra more than 2 meters long glides quietly through low grass, head slightly raised, tongue continuously flickering to probe the air. In a tree 10 meters away, a leopard opens its eyes, the powerful shoulders tightening under the spotted coat. It has just spotted the shadow moving below. The cobra stops, raises half its body, and spreads its hood wide. That threat display has made many large mammals hesitate, but the leopard continues to press closer in silence. The first strike drives straight forward. The leopard tilts aside and sweeps a paw hard across the snake's body. The fangs only manage to sink into the grass. The second time, the venomous head snaps forward like a spring. The leopard immediately leaps back. When striking, the snake is extremely fast, but changing direction is always slower than a four-legged opponent. After only a few exchanges, the leopard has already identified that weakness. It keeps circling to the side, each step pressing closer behind the snake's head, beyond the reach of the fangs. Suddenly, the snake spits venom straight at the leopard's eyes. The leopard tilts its head just in time. The spray grazes past the ear and falls onto the grass. But every missed spit drains the snake's venom reserve. The next time, a portion of the venom catches the leopard's muzzle. The leopard jerks its head, eyes squeezing shut, staggering back several steps. The snake immediately seizes the upper hand. The snake rears again. The leopard seizes the opening and drives in, pinning its head to the ground. But in that same instant, the fangs also manage to sink deep into a paw. The struggle ends only when a dry crack of breaking bone sounds. The snake's body goes limp, but the last of its venom has already entered the leopard's bloodstream. Leaving the snake's body in the grass, the leopard walks on, but the venom is already destroying its body from within, and it collapses. The leopard falls. Its chest rises and falls more slowly with every breath, its eyes seeing nothing now, only the distant sound of buffalo carrying faintly to its ears. Venom overcomes strength. Strength overcomes venom. But the next creature is entirely different. Nothing sharp can penetrate it, and no drop of venom can seep into it. An East African riverbank at dusk, murky water drifting slowly by. 2 meters from the bank, a Nile crocodile moves beneath the surface, only its eyes breaking the waterline. A herd of impala picks its way to the water's edge, stretching their necks and lowering their heads to drink. Beneath the flat surface, the long shadow is already moving toward the slender legs. The water explodes. The enormous jaws launch out of the mud, clamp onto a leg, and wrench the impala downward. It claws frantically, but it is already too late. The crocodile rolls beneath the water, trailing mud and white foam. The prey thrashes desperately in the murky current, then disappears completely beneath the surface. Not long after, the stretch of river returns to its familiar calm. The crocodile's eyes still float in the current, while the impala herd has already retreated far from the water's edge. In bodies as enormous as that, strength decides nearly everything. But nature is not built only from massive jaws and great blocks of muscle. In rock crevices, beneath leaf litter, or inside tunnels under the sand, there is another world entirely, where a single drop of venom can accomplish what muscle cannot. Beneath the sand, the spider still waits behind its silk door. The scorpion holds its pincers ready among the rocks, and the snake waits in darkness for the first signal from prey. On the grassland, the bodies of the leopard and cobra gradually become part of the savannah. Out on the river, the crocodile lies still, as though the battle of the afternoon never happened. From the smallest creatures beneath the earth to the giants ruling the waterways, every species carries its own weapon, sharpened across millions of years. And right now, somewhere out there, another hunt has already begun. One careless step, one very faint vibration, sometimes that is all it takes to decide life and death. At midday, an oryx herd stands exposed under scorching sun, nearly 1 meter long straight horns stretching skyward, like 2 swords planted on the head of a grass eater. Suddenly, on a sand dune about 100 meters away, a dark shadow slowly rises. Entire oryx herd simultaneously turns heads, clearly seeing a black mane gradually emerging, yet still doesn't move. The reason they don't rush to flee is because oryx are among the rare prey that make hunters hesitate before striking. Those horns have pierced through more than a few lion throats. But the one lurking behind that sand dune is no ordinary creature either. People call it Jet, weighing over 250 kilograms, among the dark maned lions, the most magnificent in all of Africa. Called Kalahari black-maned lions because their mane color and thickness are influenced by climate, hormones, and the harsh living conditions here. But right now, the pride's concern isn't the oryx. They surround the last sama melon bush, but that bush had already dried up days before. In a desert with no rivers, wild melons are the lifeline water source. Those round green striped fruits growing scattered on sand after rainy season, flesh full of water, are the drink-saving entire prides. So the last bush drying out is also when the final drop of water runs out. Here, failing to find a new bush means dying of thirst. Jet looks south, then leads the pride onward. Entire pride follows each other stepping on hot sand, Jet leading up front, lionesses following behind. Lion cubs a few months old trot beside their mothers, quickening strides to keep pace. Sand surface at midday exceeds 60 degrees Celsius. Every step like treading directly into fire. Adults can endure it thanks to calloused paw pads, accustomed to choosing cooler hours to travel. But under the fierce midday sun, even those hardened pad layers can barely hold out. Entire pride puts all effort into striding fast, hoping to cross the burning sand stretch quickly. Adults can still manage, but the cubs are clearly flagging. Their paw pads are still young and soft, heat tolerance still weak, causing steps to slow, then fall behind. It drags each step across burning sand, each step more painful than the last. Muzzle already cracked dry after days without water, strength draining with each paw print. Finally, it collapses, lying flat on hot sand, unable to step further. Its mother circles back, gently nuzzling her muzzle against the cub's back. Jet stops, looks back at mother and cub in the sea of sand, then silently turns away. In this deadland, the entire pride cannot stop and wait for one small life at the cost of all others. Mother lion lingers beside her cub, eyes tracking the pride growing distant, then lowers gaze to her motionless cub. In the end, survival instinct pulls mother after the pride. Staying behind is only dying together. Left behind, it lies still amid emptiness. In this deadland, creatures slow to adapt are quickly eliminated. Death needs no fangs or claws, only sun and sand. Entire pride drags on until late afternoon, legs exhausted, muzzles cracked dry. Then Jet's nose catches the scent of water blended in wind, the scent of wild sama melons up ahead. Pride reaches a new melon bush, round green striped fruits scattered on sand. Jet lowers, biting down, fangs tearing open the rind, fangs normally for tearing flesh, now sinking into melon. They bury faces eating ravenously, water soaking into dry muzzles, eyes half closed, because in desert water is worth more than meat. Each fruit holds too little water, so adults must eat continuously. Thirst quenched, Jet stands, sweeping eyes across the unfamiliar land. Then nose catches another scent on wind. Not melon, but urine from this land's owner. From behind a sand dune steps out, the brown-maned male who owns this territory, paler and smaller, letting out a warning roar. The two come face to face. Dune is weaker, but holds home advantage. Jet roars in answer, sound deeper and more resonant, thanks to the massive body and wide chest cavity amplifying. Sound reverberating makes Dune freeze, hesitating a moment. Dune lunges, but opponent outweighs it by about 30 kilos. Just one foreleg swipe already sends it tumbling. Immediately, Jet closes in, locking jaws on opponent's scruff. After a final roar, Dune falls silent, ears flat, body lying prone on sand. Black mane releases its jaw grip. Defeated one immediately retreats, entire pride following, leaving behind just lost territory. Now the new territory belongs to Jet's pride. Has water, has shade. Most importantly, has prey. Jet looks west, seeing several longhorn silhouettes on the flat plain. Oryx are among the largest prey in the region, also the most dangerous opponents. Weighing over 200 kilo though, horns nearly 1 meter long, ready for close combat with any daring enough. Jet presses behind a sand dune to lurk, but Kalahari has no tall grass for cover. Against white sand, black mane stands out like an ink mark, must borrow dunes as hiding spots. It crawls wide loops downwind, so wind doesn't carry scent to Oryx. Kalahari wind keeps shifting direction, forcing constant readjustment of movement path. Lionesses separate from pride, circling wide to both sides, closing into a pincer grip. On open desert, the encirclement must spread wider so prey can't run too far. After over half an hour crawling on the fiery surface, entire group closes within about 40 meters of Oryx. Jet presses flat to sand, eyes scanning over the dune rim, seeing longhorn pairs grazing. Lionesses, already positioned on both sides, wind-carrying lions sent away. Jet looks toward them, gives a slight nod signaling, then compresses strength into thighs, ready to spring. From behind the sand dune, Jet bursts out, legs gripping sandy surface, launching into full stride, sand billowing thick. Oryx herd startles spinning around, then simultaneously bolts. Oryx run on sand, even faster than lions, because born on sand, their narrow hard hooves grip the surface very well. But two lionesses have already cut off both sides, forcing one to halt. No escape route left. The Oryx whips around facing the hunters. It drops head near to the ground, pointing nearly 1 meter horn pair toward the black mane, like two spear tips poised to strike. Mid-charge, Jet is forced to dodge aside, avoiding one horn tip, but the other sharp point still grazes the shoulder, leaving a wound, only a handspan from the throat. From the left, two lionesses launch in, pouncing on the Oryx's haunches, pinning it down on sand. But even falling, the horn pair still swings, one tip stabbing into a lioness's thigh, making her shriek. Immediately, Jet springs forward, locking jaws onto Oryx's throat from behind. Facing the horn pair is a death zone, so it chooses the back of the neck, where horns can never reach. Fangs sunk, deep into neck, jaw squeezing tight, Oryx shakes head, trying to swing horns backward, but straight horns can't reach its own back. The attack from behind has neutralized its most lethal weapons. Oryx struggles, growing weaker, but Jet still squeezes the neck without releasing. Each drop of blood falls onto dry sand surface, then absorbed by the thirsty Kalahari, clean within seconds. Entire pride gathers, tearing the Oryx's flesh amid evening sand, eating meat and drinking water from it. Because the desert has no rivers, Oryx blood is water itself. Muzzles stained red, blood replacing rain. The lioness with the thigh wound still drags herself to eat with the pride, despite the pain. In Kalahari, where prey is scarce, Missing a meal could mean losing the final one. Hunger is fiercer than pain. Full, entire pride stretches out on sand, bellies round and taut, fur matted with dried blood. Jet lies in the center, dark mane covered with white sand, as if just dusted with fine powder. The pride now lacks one small life, the cub left behind on the blazing midday sand. But in return, survivors have new territory, have melons, have prey, though earned in blood. Jet helps lick the wound for the injured lioness. Without infection, the wound will heal after a few weeks. If unlucky, she will become the next offering to the desert. On the flat sand plain far ahead, a new oryx herd has just entered Jet's territory, their sharp-horned pairs pointing straight to the sky, ready to strike back at any hunter. Across the entire Kalahari, spanning over 900,000 km2, dozens of lion prides live this way. Eat melons, drink blood instead of water, tread burning sand instead of grass, every meal a duel with swords. The Sahara sand surface reaches over 60 degrees at midday. No creature dares venture out, except for tiny silver specks darting about on nimble legs. Those are silver ants, appearing only when the desert is at its most brutal. When every predator has retreated beneath the sand, they begin their brief race against time. Within just a few minutes, they sweep up every insect carcass on the surface, then vanish back into the earth. The desert surface is bare under the sun again, not a movement. But the Sahara is not dead. Beneath that scorched sand, countless eyes are still waiting for the temperature to drop before stepping out to hunt. Under a dune, inside a burrow far cooler than the surface, a creature waits for the heat to recede. At the burrow entrance, two pointed tips rise just above the sea of sand. The smallest fox in the world, the fennec carries the largest ears of any canine, catching the faintest sounds while helping the body shed heat. When the afternoon sun softens, it slowly opens its eyes. The ears turn slowly, listening for any movement, while the nose continuously tests the wind for news carried from far away. Finding the area around the burrow still quiet, it steps outside. The thick fur beneath its paws insulates the body from the residual heat still rising from the ground. The fox moves along the slope of a dune in the cooling afternoon light. Both ears keep shifting direction, filtering for faint sounds rising from beneath the sand. Suddenly, it stops. Both ears point to the same spot ahead, where a scorpion is digging through the shallow sand below. The fox lunges, drives its muzzle into the sand, and digs it up. Seconds later, the scorpion is flung out. One bite behind the tail neutralizes the stinger. Then the jaws crunch through the hard shell. But one tiny scorpion barely touches a hungry belly. It moves along the base of a dune, searching for the next meal as dusk settles in. 10 minutes later, a mole cricket and a beetle are pulled from the sand. The dunes that lay silent all through the midday heat are now quietly alive with signs of life. The fox pauses on a sand mound, drawing in the passing wind. Then it stiffens, carried on. The breeze is a scent both familiar and alarming. About 300 meters away, a gray shape is moving steadily along a dune ridge. It is a striped hyena, one of the Sahara's most well-known opportunistic scavengers. Not as fast as the spotted hyena, but carrying an exceptionally sensitive nose. And right now, that nose has just caught the scent of the small fox. Now it is a contest of two senses across the desert wind. One listening for footsteps, the other tracking by scent. And both know the other is closing in. Instead of fleeing, the fox chooses to hide right in front of its enemy. It presses its body as flat as it can, ears pinned back, its sand-colored coat quickly dissolving into the desert surface. The hyena follows the scent trail. The distance keeps narrowing, but ahead there is nothing but sand and more sand. The nose says the prey is right here. The eyes see nothing. The hyena is now just 50 meters away. Then a scorpion crawls past right against the fox's muzzle. The unexpected contact makes it flinch. Both ears lift off the sand surface. That alone is enough to break the camouflage. The hyena snaps its head around. What its nose had been tracking has just appeared right before its eyes. The footsteps immediately quicken. The fox springs upright and bolts down the slope of the dune, its small light body moving as though skimming across the surface. Behind it, the hyena gives chase. Heavier, each stride sinking deeper with every step. The pursuit stretches across one dune slope after another. The fox keeps changing direction. Its compact body makes each turn easy, while the hyena has to recover its momentum after every swerve. The gap gradually widens. The desert does not favor the larger or the stronger. It favors whoever is best adapted to the sand underfoot. But the hyena does not give up. Hunger makes it more stubborn than usual. A fox, however small, is a meal worth expending effort for on the sand. By the third minute, the fox's breathing is coming in rapid bursts. The small body is heating up, every breath carrying away a little more of its precious limited moisture. Worse, across the open sandfield, there is nowhere dense enough to hide. The fox has no choice but to keep running, while the hyena presses closer with every stride, each lunge just about to close on it. And the direction changes have slowed. The distance shrinks with every beat. For the first time, the hyena sees the prey within reach. Just as the pursuit is about to be decided, an enormous shadow suddenly sweeps across the sand, and a third hunter has entered the game. The newcomer is the pharaoh eagle owl, the largest owl in North Africa. A wingspan of more than 1 meter, soft edge feathers cutting through the air without a sound. Those enormous amber eyes take in every movement below. To the owl, both fox and hyena are prey, and it has already locked on to the smaller target. The owl dives, talons driving straight toward the small back. But the fox's ears catch the faintest sound of displaced air. It dodges sideways just before the talons make contact. Missing the fox, those sharp talons seize the hyena driving just behind. The hyena shudders and cries out in pain. And in the chaos, the fox has already broken away. But the hyena is not shaken. Ignoring the owl above, it pours every remaining ounce of effort into one target, each frantic stride eating up the distance. This time, the fox cannot dodge in time. The jaws lunge forward and clamp into the hind body. The fox cries out, struggling desperately, but the grip only tightens. At that exact moment of life and death, a shadow crashes down from above again. The owl driving in to contest the catch. The hyena recoils in alarm, its jaws involuntarily loosening for an instant. The fox seizes that moment, tears itself free, and drives down the dune slope, rolling onto the sand. Reaching the base of the dune, it trembles into the shelter of a sand mound and goes completely still. Above, the hyena is still searching, but the pursuit has cost too much. After a few futile sniffs at the wind, it finally turns and leaves with nothing. The fox stays motionless, not daring to stir, until its ears can no longer pick up a single footfall. Only then does it slowly raise its head, eyes darting across the sand in every direction. The fox steps out of hiding, exhausted and parched. It stands on the sand, draws in the wind, senses quiet in every direction. The hyena has gone, but the sky has not. Because the pharaoh eagle owl does not give up as easily as the hyena. It has been perched on a rock outcrop nearby, amber eyes locked onto the fox's hiding spot, waiting for exactly this moment. Now there is no more hyena, no more chaotic pursuit to take advantage of. Only the solitary fox, and a hunter silently descending from behind. The fox's ears still catch the warning, but this time, the exhausted body has betrayed it. Before it can dodge, the talons have already locked down onto the small back. The owl beats its wings and rises, carrying its prey in its talons. The hyena trudges away with an empty belly, and the fox remains in the sand forever. When everything settles, the desert cools and the earth stirs quietly. From beneath the layers of sand, small creatures emerge one by one, resuming the familiar rhythm of life. In this place, there is no absolute victory. The hyena spent itself and came away with nothing. The fox escaped one threat only to fall to another. And the final share always belongs to the one that knows how to wait. Tomorrow morning, when the first ray of light touches the sand, another fox will push its ears above the burrow entrance. It too will dart out, hunt for food, and begin the same cycle of hunting in a new day. That is the largest desert on the planet, where life has never been something to take for granted. Here, surviving one more day is already a victory.